Yeah. We have an amendment.
Yes, we do. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept the amended agenda as posted.
Got a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Jim.
Yes. So the first case that I have for you is case number 2022-0073. It is an application for cremation expenses submitted through Manning Wheatley Funeral Home in the amount of $1,200. All of the information that I was able to obtain was from the state's website. The deceased was a 56-year-old female. She was staying with friends at the time of her death. She was not a veteran and is a Bannock County resident. She does appear to meet criteria to be eligible for assistance through the Bannock County Indigent Program. And there is no responsible party available for reimbursement of this request.
Mr. Chair, on case 2022-0073, I make a motion that we approve as presented.
A motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The other item that I have for you up there are the assignments that the CAP fund has sent to me. This determines what percentage of each of the payments that we receive from individuals goes to the CAP fund and which percentage stays with the county.
Okay. Any further comments?
If you have any questions.
You agree to it?
Yes, and that's completely determined on, so the county pays the first $11,000 and then the rest of the bills are submitted to the CAP fund. And so depending on what the payments are that we set these individuals up on, a percentage is at the end of every month. I calculate the percentages, take it down to Christy, and then she cuts a check to the CAP fund, sends it up to there, and then we keep the rest for the county if reimburse us.
Okay.
Do we need a motion on this?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept the assignment letters for the CAP fund as presented.
A motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Brian, you're next.
Okay. Brian Belknap, HR Director. And I believe the agenda item was to talk about benefits process. So when I first started working here, we had in new employee orientation, we gave out a packet of benefit information and forms that was good 2 inches thick in paper, right? And over time, we've been trying to think about processes and streamlining, and we've used emails, and we've done a few things to help reduce the amount of paper we're using and streamline process. Recently, I've had some discussions with Mark Siemens from Real Benefit Solutions, who does our Life Map life insurance. And he was talking about their ability to provide a portal, that's what I call it, where a new employee or during an open enrollment or something, they could go in, create an account, and see benefit information in the portal and they kind of get walkthroughs and drop downs and guided through how to fill out benefit forms online. And then in the end, once they go through that, it shows the actual form and they just kind of sign an initial where they're supposed to. And then it creates a electronically signed, HIPAA compliant form similar to what we have on paper, but it's just like a PDF version within that portal. And they said they were willing to do that service for us for their life map forms that we have, as well as gen plan forms that we have, our flexible spending account. So all of our forms for benefits would be just kind of, you go into that portal and do it. And they gave me a demo of what they've done for other clients of theirs, and it was super slick, super modern looking. They say their clients love it. And so it's a great service. I think it would really enhance our ability to just our process for new employees and kind of that first impression of the county and just kind of get us kind of to the modern age with that. He said he would be willing to do that for us for no charge for a year, let us try it out. And then at the end of the year, we could decide if we wanted to continue doing that or not, but they would have to charge us like about between $1 and $2 per employee for that service if we were to continue doing that.
Is that just a once-a-year fee?
Yes, as I understand. So actually, Jeff, I don't know if it would be a monthly or okay, the $1 per employee would be monthly.
How often do the employees fill out the forms? Or would it be just the employees that use the form each month? So if you had 10 new signups, it would be $10 for that month.
Yeah, so it would be...
and then during open enrollment, it would be $500.
That's right. It would just be... It would be once when they're new, and then they could go back and look at their enrollment information, and then it would be just open enrollment. So it'd only be once a year, really, when people would mainly use that.
What about when people change benefits or add dependents, things like that? Would they do that throughout the year?
We could use it for that, too.
Who would have access to that system if it's going to be paperless? Would payroll have access to it? How would it kick notifications to us that there's a change?
We could control all that. But yes, we can manage user access, and so it would be whoever we assign to it could access it. And I asked specifically about payroll, and yes, we could put payroll in and they could see.
Will it kick us like an email? We don't have time to go in and look at a system to see if something's changed.
I don't know if there's that.
Okay, would there be a chance that our office could have a demo of it as well, since it's going to directly affect us?
Yep. And when he came and gave me the demo I offered, I think you were out, and so.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Okay, so I'm sure he'd be more than happy to give you a demo. So
well,
let
me clarify. It's not the first I've heard of this because you and I've talked about it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know when the demo was.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was on a Friday when you were out.
I work Fridays. I can be available.
Okay. So I'm sure he could, but this is just early exploration, demonstration. I guess my ask is not necessarily a decision yes or no if we're going to do it, but it's more of a decision to continue putting time into pursuing this, if it's worth looking at.
Paperless is very much worth it, but we have a lot of employees also that are used to a certain way, so there will have to be some trainings and some, we can't leave anybody out on an island. They still have to depend on the HR and have they have the contacts and the ability to, I don't understand this. Can I come in or whatever? I mean, that's the part that
No, that's a good point. And where I worked before, where we had systems like this, the HR office could sit down with an employee and walk them through, especially in orientation. And then during open enrollment, what we did where I worked before is we had a couple laptops we'd take with us, set them up as we go through the different locations and just kind of get in line and we'll walk you through it.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I was cleaning my office a little bit the other day.
Made me nervous.
And I found things that were from my orientation that are still in that bundle that I never really looked at. So I think that having all the papers is we don't need to do that, but we still need to have that one-on-one contact and ability with employees so that they don't get lost either.
And a point, one more point is, I talked to Leedy from Gem Plan about this, right? Because see what concerns she had. And as long as we're using their forms and we're able to preserve the format of the forms that we have, so we're not really changing that. Because right now for Gem Plan, we're still either faxing them or we're encrypting them and sending them in an email encrypted. That's what we're trying to do more and more. And so that'll save some time for us too, for doing the encryption and sending them up. Actually, I take that back. We're still going to do that. We're still going to have to encrypt them and send them to Leedy. But at least we're not going to, it still makes the process easier since it's all electronic to begin with. We're not having to scan them and then save them and encrypt them and all that. So
I'd say yes, let's move forward, continue, let's include everybody that's a player in it.
okay.
And get it moving forward. I like it.
You know me, I'm all about technology, so.
Okay, so we'll do that. We'll continue looking into it. I'll include your office with some demos as we kind of just put some energy into the planning stages. And then at some point before I'll seek a decision whether yes or no if we want to actually implement.
And what can we put in Tyler? Can't Tyler do some of this too?
Potentially, and that's a good question.
Because if you're going to use this for a year and then we're going to be able to use Tyler next year, do you really want to transition into two different things, or just, I mean, I guess it depends on when you think you can go live with this.
See, potentially. See, I was talking to the HR director up in Idaho Falls who's using Tyler in Bonneville County.
I know.
And they've been with it for 5 years and can't get that to work.
I think we have a better resource for Tyler than Bonneville County. I have a contact that does a little bit better with Tyler, and Alicia just confirmed that we can use Tyler for open enrollment once it's set up.
Okay.
So if you've got the resources that you can help dedicate towards setting it up in Tyler, I think we just utilize the system we already have. We're already paying for it.
Well, we already have that login to, so why not?
Yeah, for ES&S. But the other thing is, City of Rexburg is on Tyler also. And those individuals are amazing at utilizing systems. In fact, they've gone live after us and they're well ahead of us.
Okay.
So they might be a better resource that we can work with on
Well,
that
if we
too.
can get Tyler to work and do it, then I'm okay too with pursuing that. I just wasn't sure if we were 5 years away or if we were closer than that.
Well, it depends on how much you can help, because
Okay.
our staff is busy. I mean, we've got more than our hands full, but having the new accountant come on next week is going to make a huge difference in workload, because we'll have one more body to spread things out to.
Sure.
And that might free up Alicia enough that she can help.
Okay.
So I don't think
can
we're
look at
5
that
years
too.
out, but, maybe we can work towards doing it.
So we want to go paperless. I mean,
Okay,
that's
so one
the
system
goal.
or another.
Whatever the system is the best for us, then that's fine. But
Okay.
let's move forward in that direction.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay? Anything else?
No, it's good discussion. I appreciate it.
All right. Then, Dave?
Christy Clouser, Bannock County Comptroller, standing in for Dave Martinez. Before you is the award for the FY23 Indigent Defense grant. These monies are less than
I was going to say.
prior years. I put that somewhere. I'll put that on here.
Fairly substantially, I think Dave said the other day.
So the FY23, or the FY22 allocation was a total of $1,194,029. This is $1,017,850. Dave has sent an email to the Public Defense Commission requesting a discussion to talk about how we will continue ongoing monies. They have requested within this application that we use $181,081 of basically reserves towards this, which will give us pretty close to the dollar amount of the current fiscal year, but with the 7% raises, we're going to have to see how that's going to work. I am going to, after this meeting, go back downstairs, see where we might need to cut so that we can cover the ongoing expenses. Right now, it looks like we're going to have to probably take the half of the rent out of the workload compliance and put it into the formula grant, but I've got to do all the budget work and see how that's going to fly. I didn't have time to do this yesterday, so it'll be this afternoon, but I mean, we're not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, so if we can accept these funds.
And that's my question, is they talked about salaries. Is that with the 7%?
I've got to look at that and double check. He did talk to them about the 7%, but if we're going to use reserves, so at the bottom of that, I think you're looking at page 3, or, yeah, page 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. At the bottom, it says 61,000 of remaining award for designated uses. So I think we can go in and use those dollars to cover that 7% increase. But that's where when I go in and try and work the budget out, see what we can do. And then if it's not going to give them the 7%, we might have to see where we can come up with the 7% because they have a handful of employees that are walking out the door. They just have one individual that's going to be leaving, but I found out that individual's actually moving, so it's...
In visiting with Dave the other day, I don't know if this includes the 7%, and my memory could be foggy on
Well,
that.
but I'm hoping that the bottom number,
61,000.
at the bottom it says use 61,000
Right,
for designated uses. I don't know if that's included up top.
okay.
Hopefully it's not.
So if we sit on this until Thursday, does that cause any heartburn to give you a chance to look at that?
It doesn't include it. So the award is, for the workload compliance, is $893.89. And up top, that's the $893.89. Oh, but I should do the math. It does include that. Shoot. It does include that. So no, it does not include the 7%. It includes the balance forward to cover the budget that they do have listed.
Yeah, Dave was pretty upset about this when we visited with him on Friday.
I will, maybe what we can do, and I'll have to get a hold of Jared Ricks, if not, get a hold of his bosses to see if maybe what we can do in the workload compliance is maybe what we can do is we can get rid of one attorney position out of here, move it, I don't even know how we're going to do it. Let me get creative on it.
Okay.
This just needs to be signed and submitted. I don't think it's until September.
Yeah. You don't get any money till it's signed.
Which, I don't need the money till October, it just makes me accrue it, or
I mean,
show as prepaid
I was
anyways.
kind of curious. The signature page originally just has Jason on it.
It does. I think it's because you signed the application for the grant, and it's just an internal process for us to have the commission approve the award, but it's not required by the granting agency. So I saw Christie had stamped.
Yeah, so there's 2 pages.
Yeah, so what I figured we would do is, when you do sign it, I'll just submit both of those pages, and then if they don't like the one with your guys' name on it, they don't have to use it, they'll use the one before it. Is
If
that
only it's
okay?
official.
Yeah,
Without our names on it, it isn't official.
yeah.
So
But again, I think I'm pretty sure you signed the application.
do you want to hold off on this, or do you want to go ahead?
Well,
Nope, they don't even ask you to sign the application.
I guess it doesn't matter because they're not gonna change the award at this stage of the game.
Worst case scenario, I mean, we might,
I would sign this, but Dave's got an appointment with him, is what you said, right? Or we're trying to get an
He emailed
appointment.
them and is trying to, yeah.
try to get a conversation. And if something, at least we'll have this moving forward at this time.
Okay.
And
So,
that's the way I feel.
do you want to make a motion to accept that, or do you want to wait until we hear from Dave or Christie, give them a chance to look at stuff?
because Dave just emailed.
Because it doesn't hurt us if we hold off on this for a couple
No,
of days.
because like I
till
said,
next
I don't believe it's due until September. And that would
Which
give me time.
It's only a week.
Well, yeah, but I think it's later in September. It doesn't say on here that I can see.
I didn't see a date.
I didn't see, there's the note that said, you don't get money until we have the forms.
But if we can include this on Thursday's agenda, then I can
I would like to
have
do that, to give
Okay.
Christie some time to
to work the budget and see what we're gonna
see
be
where
at.
we're at. If you're okay with that.
And then I'll just kick Dave a text and let him know that
We're holding off for a day or two.
yeah.
Okay. And so to do that, just conversation, Christie is off, Davenport is off today. She'll be here tomorrow,
Okay.
then she's off again on Friday, so.
Shanda can put it on
Shanda
the
will be,
agenda.
but
Okay.
just so if you're trying to get a hold of Christie, she won't be here. If
I haven't
she gets an email or something.
seen Thursday's agenda yet,
I
so
haven't seen it
I
either,
think
so.
we can get it in time.
Yeah.
Move to table the matter, I think we're okay.
So, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we table this discussion until Thursday, at Thursday's meeting.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you, Nancy, for that
Aye.
administrative genius.
And now Nancy's up.
Let's see. So the Forest Service has found some additional monies and is requesting to modify our agreement with the Sheriff's Office with an additional $15,000 to be used by the end of the year, of which...
Calendar year.
Yes, the calendar year, sorry. 49% of that can be used on equipment. And it is a reimbursable, so if we don't bill for it, we don't get all the money. So if they don't patrol enough, there'll just be extra money the Forest Service keeps.
So, I'm fuzzy here, Nancy. Would you say that again in a little more English for me? Dumb it down for me?
So we had this agreement,
So we have
Right.
an agreement
I
with
saw
the
that.
Forest Service
For 5,000?
that's already there.
for patrolling. And there was extra funding available for $15,000.
Okay.
So this agreement will modify the original 5,000 for a total of 20,000.
Okay, there it is. I got to it.
And then of this $15,000, $7,499 can be used on equipment purchases,
What
which is usually
what
not.
qualifies for that? Like new tasers, shotguns?
I read it.
So the ATVs, all, snowmobile, all that kind of stuff.
So stuff to help patrol the Forest Service? Okay, all right.
Ammunitions and guns are not included.
Also, there's no match on them.
And that's what this form, thank you very, very much.
Do you like that?
I do. That's, as I read through there, and then I come right here, oh, no match, okay. Perfect. So that form helps a lot.
Okay, yeah, now I'm tracking. Okay. I'm good with that. So, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve and authorize signature on the amended Forest Service contract as presented.
Motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Does the Sheriff's Department have any ATVs?
Or do we utilize search and rescues? We might utilize search and rescues, but search and rescue is part of the Sheriff's Office, so
On
Might be able to do something like that.
4th, they have a few up there.
And I know we've had to go up and do searches when people have been missing and lost.
Okay. The sheriff does that?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because I know one of the individuals that found somebody on. But yeah, they've got some of that equipment up there. So,
All right. Christie, you're back up.
I apologize that I sent this so late last night.
I have,
Do you have it?
I
Okay.
copied one this morning.
Okay. I sent it to the agenda request too, but. So I went through our normal process to see who needed monies that might be a little bit close on their budget and how we could potentially assist in letting them get through the remainder of the year. We have the coroner, we had given them some more money. I think they'll be able to make it the next month, 6 weeks. He's at 89.3% spent. Just informational contingency, we still have $243,000 and change. And then we have a couple other departments that are within 90%. So I looked at possibly trying to give them some more money. So that's where this list came from. Kyle had reached out to me because we received the new state funds through ITD. We received them this year, not next year, but we didn't get them until we already had budget done. So we're not going to be able to utilize adding them to next year's budget. He asked if we could put $650,000 into this year's budget. And then what he would like to do is we need to cover $150,000 in fuel. And then he requested $500,000 in road oil, and that would allow him to do hot mix overlay of 4 miles to the old highway while he's in process of doing those projects. Elise got a hold of me, and our surveyor line for the engineer's budget is, we're not going to make that this year's budget on that. So she asked if we could add some budget authority there. I doubt they're going to need the full $47,000 that I've listed, but I figured open the budget, what they don't use is going to roll anyways. So it's not going to hurt anything, and I hadn't heard back from her, so I just erred on the side of more than not. The fair exhibit, because they did collect some revenues, they are at $36,000 more in revenues than we anticipated due to ticket sales, sponsorships, and so on.
Nice.
So that was pretty good.
It's nice when you charge for things.
Yeah. So they requested to use $15,000 of that.
This is one that I have a question about, because the others have come and talked to us. We've talked about the surveyors, we've talked about the fuel, and the expenses. I mean.
Right, indigent didn't, because I discovered that one on my own.
Do I have that marked here?
Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
the next one.
But what I'm questioning is, the fair went and overspent $15,000
Well,
of their budget. That's what I'm trying to clarify here.
no, not necessarily. What I did is I was going through their expenditures. They were pretty close. And then I looked at revenues. So I started with expenses. If somebody was going to be close and could make it, then I looked at revenues to see if they were going to have any additional. Then I made the phone call. So this is me.
Okay.
I made the phone call and said, hey, it looks like you have extra money. Did you need to open the budget for anything?
But that's the point I'm trying to make, I guess. I want them to come talk to us.
Okay.
Because if they overspent their budget $15,000, I don't want it to become
Okay.
a habit. Well, we're going to get extra money, so we can spend extra, and we don't have to go talk to the commissioner.
Right.
That's the part I don't want to have happen.
And that's not how this occurred.
Okay.
They are going to live within their means,
That's-
and they'll use their donation trust to cover any of the monies.
But-
So we can opt to take this one off, which is why I didn't have the resolution done yet, is I wanted to present this to you, make sure you're in agreement. We don't have to open for this, and that was not their intent at all.
So from the best of your knowledge, they have not overspent, they're close, but they
Right.
have not overspent.
No,
This
they
is
have
just
not. But this would
extra
help them out
revenue.
in case they did have some extras
Something
at the end of the year.
And with them, I mean, we've worked and worked at them trying to get them to charge. And I want them to realize the benefits of it in their next budget, you know? Stay within the budgets that we set. We work our butts off trying to create them budgets, and we tell people, no, this is the budget. And so I have a tough time just coming later and saying, oh, well, you did what we asked and you got extra money, but so you can go ahead and spend it from last year. No, that's for next year.
Piney was worried about, they had received, when they rented some tents, and then fair was canceled, well, basics of the fair was canceled, they received a $750 check because that company went out of business, so they couldn't roll it over as a credit. I told her they weren't going to open the budget. I wasn't going to open the budget for $750.
Yeah.
So, as far as she was concerned, until I called Jamie yesterday, if they've even talked, I was not going to open the budget for them, because I didn't anticipate that they would have this much money, or any money, honestly. Like I said, we could totally take this off.
I just, like I say, I have mixed feelings about it. I don't want any department to think that, I'm gonna get extra money so I can spend extra. No, you stay within your budget, and if you have a problem with that, you come and present before the commissioners ahead of time, is what I mean, I have no problem putting it in there, but I don't want to create
This isn't going to become habit.
something that we have to fight later.
Right. And I can let them know this is one time, and that don't plan on it for next year. I usually I try not to perceive that this is an open checkbook by any means. We make them live within their means unless something extraordinary has come up, like the fuel, like, the landfill, remediation and expansion items, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this,
I just like an explanation from the departments,
and I can
if they're
have,
asking for money.
even if you,
They're coming before us.
1st of September.
okay, so if you choose to approve this, we can just have them talk about it, and just because you give them the budget authority doesn't mean they can spend it.
So I guess then that comes the other part of it is, if they don't spend this 15,000, it rolls over
As reserves.
to reserves again.
Yeah. If I don't,
It goes into the same
yeah, if
pot.
we don't open this, the money's gonna roll forward regardless. They just can't
Yeah,
spend
I-
money this year. This just allows them to potentially spend some of it.
Well, I look forward to visiting with them and saying, look, you guys gained $36,000.
Kudos.
Good for you.
Uh-huh.
If we continue to do that every year, and if we would have been doing that every year, we wouldn't have the barn conditions that we have down there.
Exactly. So, let's skip this one for now. You can tell me at the end if you
Okay.
want to approve it or not.
Okay.
I went through indigent's budget for the conflict attorneys and also for Dave's budget. Dave's had some murder trial expenses. I'm not sure he's going to make budget. I have not talked to him about this. I want to talk to you guys and see if this is something you want to do, and if so, then he can have more spending. This will allow him, we've got excesses in sales tax of about $70,000. Excess sales tax is just ridiculous right now.
Yeah. Look
so-
at the state.
I know. So I allotted $20,000 for Dave's public defender budget, and then $20,000 for professional services for Office of Conflict, because I have, like, this invoice for Chenault again. The last one was $16,000 alone that we paid out of contingency. What my goal is by opening it for this is that we can pay these bills within the public defense budget and not use contingency.
Okay.
So excess sales tax, where does it normally go?
It'll stay in this fund. If we don't open
Is
the
it always
budget, we get excess sales tax, we put it in each fund.
in each fund?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is designated specifically for these funds already?
Yes. What we do is, sales tax is set by how much we've received in prior years. So every property tax levying fund gets a set amount of sales tax. Then what we do with the excess sales tax amount that the county gets, we divvy it by levy rate into each of the funds, property tax funds.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
And honestly, if we think.
Didn't know if it was like Pilt, that was
Oh.
kind of its own over here, and then we're putting some out of Pilt into, what is it?
No, this stays in
If
here.
it's already designated into that area.
And I
then
can
we don't have a
actually
problem.
take that professional services up just a little bit more. They're 90% spent, there's $7,500 still in there. And I thought 20 would get us maybe through, because I looked at history as I was putting this together of how much we've spent a month. I think 20 will get us through, I mean, we're talking 6 weeks. So I think the 20 will get us through the rest of the month. And then we're not opening it for more than we need.
Okay, no problem.
Then the rec district, I talked to Scott about this one. He has some unanticipated revenues that he wants to put towards property acquisitions that will help him get finished out for this year.
What are the acquisitions?
He'll have to present on that this afternoon when he comes in possibly.
Well, this
It may-
afternoon is an executive session on something else.
Okay.
Is that, I mean, what, has he talked to you about the property that he's talking about?
There was just some, it's related to the water,
Oh, the stream bed?
yes, stream bed.
Okay.
Because we're out of county boat monies.
The waterway
We're out.
money? Okay.
Yeah. And then Pilt was brought before you already for Scott to buy the backhoe and the Side by side?
Side by
Yeah.
side.
which we might be in trouble on the side by side. He talked to the guy yesterday and the guy said, I thought you said October 30. And he's like, no, September 30. So fingers crossed we'll be able to get that because we took it out of the budget for next year.
Right.
Landfill, we've already discussed. That's the $1,700,000 for fuel, $1,200,000 for remediation, and $400,000 for expansion. We're going to achieve those through the light items that you see. He is right now $1,700,000 over budget, $1,759,000 actually. So we've got another month in collections.
So the only thing I had a question there, what is miscellaneous revenues?
That was money we got back. They had a ICRIMP claim.
Oh.
I can tell you exactly what it is. It was not that page. It's $95,621, and that was, I may have just given to you. I may not be able to tell you exactly what it was. It was a ICRIMP check.
Okay.
Do you know what that would have been, Ryan, an ICRIMP check to the landfill?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Oh.
Was it
96.
around 7,000?
No, it was 95,000.
95?
I think it was ICRIMP.
Because that would have been,
95,000?
Okay, I'll find it.
Because I know that there was a fire and parts burnt up. but
That's what it was.
Was that it?
It was for the equipment, because we bought the equipment, because the insurance was taking too long, so we bought the equipment and they gave us the money back.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Spot on.
Yeah, I just miscellaneous, is my,
And it's because, yeah, there's really no great place to put that. The last thing is D6 for the stipends of the $21,250. That was agreed upon prior, but we hadn't opened it because I didn't want to charge the county twice for the fee. Now back to fair. Would you like me to include that, take it off? Because I still can take it off, and then whatever you approve today is what I will give Amy to publish and hold a public hearing.
I would say it's okay, because they aren't overspending, they're not over their budget, this is,
no, just like I said, the only thing I don't want any department, not just them, any department to think that you're gonna look and say, oh, well, I'll find some money for you. I expect them to come in and have a conversation.
right.
If they're close to their budget and stuff, I mean, we have our reviews with you, we keep up, and then we call people in and say, well, this is where you're at.
On that note, and I'm going to regret saying this, but normally I do Jason. Normally I do the just quarterly reviews of expenditures. Do you want me to do that a little more frequently
I would be okay
at the end of
with
the
that.
fiscal year at least? because I do June and July, which this time when I did that, I actually updated you on July, not June, because it was more pertinent.
Right.
But I could do the same thing at least for July's expenditures and August's expenditures, kind of to prepare for this.
And yes, especially where last week we said we wasn't gonna send out or require everybody to tell us exactly what they're spending monies on. We were putting that in their hands, but this will still be a check and balance. But
So I'll just plan on doing that. So I'll do the June one like normal, but then I'll do granted, it might not be like a final July, but what I'll do is close to the end of July, I'll just run a report, and then we'll just report on it, and then I'll do the same thing, maybe the latter part of August, so that we can prep for this to happen
Okay.
at the same time. That work? Okay.
I like that. Thank you.
And like I say, I have no problem doing this. That'll be part of the conversation we have with.
Okay.
So I am good to submit this to Amy for public hearing?
Yes.
And then we should be able to pay this then out of the normal fund. And I'll take that down to Braden and let him know that.
Okay. So next we have resolutions. First one is 2022-50. Increase fees for planning and development. And then 2022-52. And this is rise at the landfill.
Yeah, that's the tire thing that Kyle came in and talked to us about. Mr. Chair, make a motion that we approve resolution number 2022-50 and resolution 2022-52 as presented.
A motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nancy needs something. Next we have letters or signatures, and this is notice of a public hearing on September 6th.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the public hearing notification.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, for signature only, we have annual agreement to provide law enforcement protection during the football games.
League football. Yep.
We also have a signature for City of Pocatello application for a parade.
POWMIA.
It's on September 11th. And it's for the short parade and setting up out here for the activities.
Oh, keep that pen in your hand, Nancy.
No, just a
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve both contracts for the sheriff as presented, or applications for the sheriff as presented.
A motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have the consent agenda, which has salary rate approval forms and minutes for August 16th and 18th. One of these was the individual we had conversation about hiring practices.
Mr. Chair, make a motion that we approve the consent agenda and salary approval forms as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 That's what I was just asking her.
That's what I heard.
A paperclip.
He wants his paper.
Do you want a paperclip?
I'll just use the one.
Okay. I got an extra one here somewhere.
Did we vote on that?
Yes.
We did, on the consent agenda and so, yeah.
I did.
I had a motion, but no.
I did make the motion. We didn't.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I thought we said aye, but we said a lot of ayes. All right. Scott, are you here for?
I don't mean, I'm not.
Okay.
Be here. Like that, the beat, that's all.
Okay. With that being said,